In the last lesson, we discussed the concept of agreement or disagreement with the passage questions. In this lesson, we would be applying this approach on a GRE-like example. Before we do so, you may want to pause the video and revise the approach. Let us now take a GRE-like example of agreement with the passage question. Here is the question, and here is our mind map approach. We have seen this passage in earlier lessons, and this is the mind map we came up with. Our first bite was the first sentence of the passage. What did it do? It raised a question around whether this scientist can be considered a remarkable one. Our second bite is this part of the passage. What did this bite do? It developed a case for yes as the answer, as in why this scientist should be considered a remarkable one. Then we saw a contrast trigger, followed by what we can consider the last bite of the passage. And what this does is to develop a case for no as the answer, as in why this scientist cannot be considered a remarkable one. We completed the first 4 steps, and now we must go about reading the question stem. We see that this is an agreement with the passage question. A specialist quoted in the passage here would agree with which of these answer choices. The context here is that the scientists in general are unwilling to group our scientist here with such remarkable scientists, and the opinion of this specialist has been quoted to support the notion that our scientist here is not in the same league as these remarkable scientists because of the nature of work he did rather than doing something else, which likely these remarkable scientists did. With this groundwork, let us now go about eliminating the answer choices. Cooper does not suggest that our scientist has received undue recognition. The passage says that the influence of our scientist has been duly recognized. The unwillingness is only about grouping our scientist alongside these remarkable scientists. Therefore, this answer choice is incorrect. Cooper has not been quoted in the context of advocacy for science education or climate change activism done by our scientists. You can see that science education and climate change activism have been mentioned in a very different context. Cooper says that our scientist best served as a liaison between the sciences, and choice D talks about our scientist not helping facilitate cross-disciplinary communications. Therefore, this is contrary to what is mentioned in the passage. Choice E is an incoherent answer choice. The passage says that the standing of our scientist in the scientist community is incongruent with his fame. In simple words, our scientist does not have a very strong standing among scientists, and Cooper is likely to agree with that. So, when the standing is anyway not very good, Cooper calling it undeserved is simply incoherent. Now look at choice B. Cooper said that our scientist worked best in this capacity and not in this other capacity, and this is exactly what choice B says, that the talents of our scientist did not include specializing in major laboratory programs, just as mentioned in the passage that our scientist did something other than specializing in such major laboratory programs. This answer choice is absolutely correct. In case you selected any other answer choice, you must ask yourself, how did you eliminate choice B? This is an absolutely correct answer choice and it cannot be eliminated.